The reel is back. Hope everybody had a nice little break, nice little vacation from the lives. We're gonna make sure we are actually live here. Sometimes it's telling me it's live, but then it's giving me trouble. So as y'all checking in, if you don't know the deal, here's the deal. Shout yourself out in the comment section, and we're gonna get right into this. Hope everybody's having a great. What day is it? I don't even know what day it is. Monday. Kristen Curtsy, what's going on? As y'all checking in, shout yourself out. We're going to get into this in like 30 seconds. Y'all know who I am. Y'all know what it is. Y'all know the deal. Y'all know what we do here. If you don't know, I'm going to let y'all know in a moment. I'm going to give everybody like 10 seconds to get in here, and then I'm going to give y'all what I'm going to give you, as I do every single day. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day. Former 9-year professional athlete, author of 27 books. I created this whole philosophy, this whole brand, this whole thing. It's called Work on Your Game. It's all about taking the pro athlete mentality, mental tools necessary to succeed in sports, and teaching you how those tools apply in business and in life. What we're going to talk about here today we're going to talk business. I saw some interesting commentary from our man, your man, everybody's man, Kanye West. I'll answer all questions at the end, at least if they're relevant to the topic. But Kanye West is talking about business over these last couple of days. He's talking about his record contract, and on Twitter he posted like 100 tweets where he was posting like his record contract and all the details and the language. This is a very long contract. There's a lot of detail in that contract. But anyway, he started talking about his new vision for the music industry and how things should work and how contracts should be structured and how artists should get their money. And even though I am not a musician, I'm not in the music industry, I have been in the publishing industry through writing books like this book right here, Work on Your Game. I'll tell you about this later. Through the publishing industry, but also just being a creator and just being an entrepreneur, period. I've been talking to y'all about ownership. Ownership of your business, having control of what you're doing, and putting yourself in a position where you have assets that are paying you instead of only exchanging your time and your efforts and your energy for money. There's nothing wrong with exchanging your time, effort, and energy for money, but you want to use the money that you make to eventually take those skills that you got and leverage all that so that you can get something back on the back end. Because if you don't have a way to not have to trade your time and energy for money, you will literally, if you just think about it, you will literally work yourself to death, because you need to work so you can, first of all, humans need to work so they have something to do. Second of all, you work so that you have some money, so you can put food on the table, food, clothing, shelter. You need those things in life, even if you're not a money-driven individual. You need to pay your bills, you need to keep your phone on, you need to eat dinner. If you got family, you got to take care of them. So money plays a part in it, whether you're super interested in money or not. But when it comes to owning what you do, that creates the leverage to where that thing, that asset, that business, that product, whatever, can make money for you when you are not working. So today I want to talk some principles of business that I think anyone needs to understand, especially all of you out there who are athletes. Because when you're an athlete, your business is your body. But listen, your body's not going to be able to run and jump and throw and catch and dunk forever. And maybe even if you can do it great now, you might not get the opportunity to do it. You're going to have at least half your life you got to live without the ability to just leverage that. So you're going to need to figure out what you're going to do next. And from what I've seen, now being a former athlete myself and knowing a whole lot of former athletes and a lot of current athletes, most athletes, once you have tasted the athlete life, you don't want to go and do the kind of job your mom or your dad or your aunt or your uncle was doing, where they're showing up every day from 9 to 5 and doing certain work. You got too used to a different type of life. Now, as an entrepreneur, listen, I work way more as an entrepreneur than I did as a basketball player, but it's still, you can still set it up as a lifestyle type of deal where you kind of get to design things the way that you want them to be, and it can still be fun, as opposed to you go to some office building from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day and somebody's telling you when to clock in and when to clock out. So you athletes out there, this is something you definitely need to listen in on, and especially any of you who's in the creator space. If you're a creative of any kind, if you're an author, if you are any type of online influencer, if you are a person who creates products and services, like you make courses, you offer coaching, you got any kind of program, you need to be listening to what I'm talking about here today. If you're a creator in the entertainment space, whether that's on social media, whether it's in music, whether you're a model, a photographer, any type of creative, professional speaking, any of those things, producers, rap producers, You need to be paying attention to what we're talking about here today, because today we're talking about ownership, and people got to understand that even though ownership sounds good, is a great buzz term when people are talking entrepreneurship. Yeah, owning my stuff, and I got this and I got that. That's all good. The whole conversation about owning things, but understand there's a whole lot of accountability that comes with ownership. It's like 100 birds just flying past my window right now. But it is a whole level of accountability that comes with ownership. And when I say accountability, I'm not just talking, but actual things that you will need to do, that you need to mechanically, tangibly have in place if you're going to own what you're doing. You're going to own the means of your production. You're going to own your business. You're going to own your assets to the point that the money's coming to you instead of going to them. For example, just today I got an email from Google, and they're like, yeah, we're going to send you a check or whatever for ad revenue off YouTube and stuff like that. But the thing is, they send me the check. So all the money from the advertisers goes to Google. Then they take their cut, whatever they take, and then they give you the rest. That's not really owners. It's like being a contractor or somebody like Amazon. You buy any of my books on Amazon. Amazon collects the money from you. You paid in $19.99. They take their check, their cut off that, and then they send me a check for what's left. And that's cool, but that ain't ownership, because Amazon owns the platform. They own the platform, Amazon. They own the means. They deliver the book. I don't even have to meet you, shake your hand, talk to you, touch no money. Amazon does all of that, and then they give me a little cut. So they're providing a service. But for example, when you go to mirrorofmotivation.com and you claim your free copy of this book, you might even I might send you this exact book. I actually touched this. So this actually is worth even more money. But this book, we're handling the transaction. You're doing it through our site, through our payment processors. The money goes directly to Work on Your Game Inc. Then we got to pay out whoever we got to pay out. We got to pay for all the stuff that we got to cover. We got to pay for copies of the book. We got to pay for the envelopes. We got to pay for the shipping. We got to get it out to the postman wherever it has to go. We got to pay for the flight if it got to fly out to wherever you at. So we take care of all those things. Therefore, because we're doing more of the work, excuse me, we get to keep more of the money. All right, and that's just a general thing. We're going to talk about that as we get into this conversation here today. So any of you who is either an entrepreneur already, or you aim to be an entrepreneur, or you are a creator, or you aim to be a creator, and you want to maximize the amount of revenue that you get to keep off of your work, off of your talent, that's what we're going to be talking about here today. So these points I put together when I heard Kanye, or read Kanye saying what he said. I'm going to go even deeper on this on the Work on Your Game podcast / masterclass. Actually a masterclass. I call it podcast because some of y'all used to podcast. Mine is a masterclass. We just put it on the podcast app. So let's get into this whole topic of creator control and what exactly it entails. The number one point you have to understand is if you want to get creative control over your work. For example, you want to write a book and you want to tell the publishing company, look, I want creative control over this. I want to have say over the copy. I want to have say over the way the cover looks. I want to have say over the interior design of the book, like the headers and all this stuff. I want to say over how many pages it's going to be. I want to say over who's going to do the audio book. If you want those controls, you got to have some leverage. And Kanye West has leverage. So when he was on Twitter talking all these trashing Universal and saying, hey, I need to talk to this person, I need to talk to this person so I can get the deal that I want. Understand, Kanye can have that conversation because Kanye has some leverage. He sold a bunch of records. He's made a whole lot of money outside of the music business. So he can go to the music label and say, yo, I want this, I want that. Y'all not doing this right, y'all not doing that right. And he can kind of force their hand, or at least he thinks he can force their hand. He can try to force their hand. He sold enough records that he can do that. Ain't too many artists out there with his leverage, at least not in the hip hop world, who's going to be able to have those conversations. What that means is, any of you want to have ownership over what you're doing. You got to have what first person I ever heard use this phrase was Wendy Williams. She called it FU money. It stands for fuck you. Fuck you money means having enough money where you can go to a company and say, look, this is the deal that I want. And if y'all don't want to give me the deal that I want, then fuck y'all. I'm not doing business with you. Kanye West can have that conversation. Jay-Z can have that conversation. Drake can have that conversation. Taylor Swift can have that conversation. I don't listen to any other kinds of music. Garth Brooks can have that conversation. Michael Jackson, rest in peace, he could do that. The Beatles can have that conversation. Maybe. No, actually, I don't know if the Beatles can have a conversation. Michael Jackson bought their catalog after all. But the whole point is, if you don't have the resources to be able to look at the powers that be, whoever it is that's throwing the contracts around, throwing the money around, and tell them, hey, this is what I want. If you don't have the power to dictate to them you can't do kind of what Kanye's talking about. He's talking about we want the contracts redone. It should be this way. The artist should get this much percentage of the money. All that stuff sounds good until you have to actually make it happen. And he has the power to do that. But a lot of artists who are listening to him and they understand it, they can't do it. So if you're going to do that, understand you also need to provide the mindset. The mindset is you got to have a scoreboard in place. What exactly are we doing? Where are we going? What's the next thing? What's the goal for the next quarter? How many records do we need to sell this week? How much promotion do we need to create if I go do this promo show at this radio station across the country? All these things you need to be thinking of if you're going to be that person. If you're going to be the owner, you got to consider what's the scoreboard. How do I know that I'm achieving? How do I know I got to my next level? How do I know what the next thing is? How do I know what the next thing is that I do? If this is done, what's the next step? When that's done, what's the next step? When you're with the label will tell you these things. All right, that's done. Now you're going to do this. All right, you did that show in Philly. Now you're going to go to Baltimore. You did Baltimore, now you're going to do DC. You did DC, now you're going to go to Norfolk. Then you're going to go to Raleigh. Then you're going to go to Columbia. Then you're going to Atlanta. Then you're going to Jacksonville. They have all that stuff organized for you. All you got to do is read the itinerary, get on the plane, show up, everything's ready. When you're the owner, you're the one who creates the itinerary. You book the flights. You make sure everything's ready. And your staff got to be doing that. And if somebody on your staff messes up, guess who that falls back on? So the whole system goes through you. You got to provide all of that stuff when you're the owner. So for example, if you go on Amazon and you buy the book, Work on Your Game, Amazon's providing the whole system. They provide the website, they got the book, they got the listing up there, they tell you how to buy it, you buy it, they got the whole back end system of, all right, this order came through, this book needs to be shipped out to this address in Chicago, they get it in the box, they get it in the box, they get it in the package, they get the stamp, the postage paid, they get it in the train or on the truck or on the plane, they get it out to you and it arrives in 2 days because you got Amazon Prime. Amazon provides all of that infrastructure, and therefore Amazon is justified in taking 70% of the money or 30-40% of the money before whoever gets a cut of whatever the price of the book was. However, on the other hand, if you go to workonyourgamebook.com and you claim a copy of this book, now we provide all that. All the things that Amazon provides, we provide. So therefore, we don't have to give a cut to anybody. We give our cuts, we collect the money, and we pay everybody else out. When you're an owner, you write the checks. When you are working, they write the checks to you. When you're receiving checks, you are working for somebody else. When you're writing checks, they are working for you. So like Puff Daddy said in the song, don't worry if I write rhymes or write checks. He was letting people know I am an owner. I am a boss. If you want to be a boss, you got to be writing checks, not receiving checks. All right, everybody got that? Second point. We're talking here, today we're talking business, inspired by Kanye's Twitter rant about ownership and how artists need to get control over what it is that they're doing. He has some good points that in general make sense, but they also have to be executed on. So today what we're talking is for anybody out here who wants to have ownership of what you do, especially the creatives and the creators out there. Point number 2, we can't ignore the trade-offs. And this is the part that a lot of people leave out whenever they're talking about what they want. I saw Ice Cube from the former rapper, now actor, producer, head of the Big Three basketball league, Ice Cube. He put out this thing called the Contract for Black America, or Contract with Black America that he put out last week. And it was like a 14-point contract, all these things that Ice Cube and whoever helped them put it together, they would go to the government and present to them, hey, these are the things that we want. Here are our demands. Here's what we want from the United States just for black people in America. And the contract, I mean, everything in the contract, all right, sounded great. All right, it was like, all right, black people need to get this, we need this, we need this. It was just a list. It was 14 points. And of the 14 points, 13 of them is what the government needs to give to black people. We need to give reparations. We need to get equal amount of these jobs. We need equal amount in this category. We need equal amount in no credit. We need equal amount in housing. We need equal schools and all these things that Ice Cube has laid out that the government is supposed to give to black people. And I looked at the whole thing and it was cool. And the last point, the 14th point, was like black like accountability or whatever it is for black people. It was the only one that did not have a specific and measurable output. That's the only one, the one for black people, and it was the only point. The contract was contract with Black America. Everything on there was what black Americans would get, but there was nothing on there for what black Americans needed to give. So it was like, all right, America, y'all need to give us all 13 of these things, and we're going to give this one vague thing that's not even measurable. All right, it makes no sense whatsoever. Now, I'm sure they got a whole lot of black people riled up I'm sure Ice Cube was excited about it when he was putting it together, but there's no way that contract's ever going to get signed by anybody, probably not even going to be read by anybody who matters, and it's definitely not going to get executed on. Why is this? Because there's no trade-off. Y'all got to understand that when you're in business, you have to give something to get something. You can't just walk into a business and say, all right, here are my demands. I want this, 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 and this. I'm not giving you nothing. Give me everything that I asked for. Right? That doesn't happen. It doesn't happen anywhere in life. It does not, damn sure doesn't happen in business. And if you try to make that happen, you're going to find yourself out on the curb wondering what the hell just happened. You're going to be like Jazzy Jeff in The Fresh Prince when Uncle Phil used to throw him out the house all the time. So what are the trade-offs that you're willing to give up? Bell Floor was good. What are the trade-offs that you're willing to give up in order to get the things that you want? So when Kanye did his tweet storm talking about, hey, these are the things that, artists need. We need this thing, this thing, this thing. He listed all these things that the record labels need to give up, that they already have control of. They need to give it up, give it back to the artist, and the artist will now have control of all those things. And I'm looking at it thinking, okay, these all sound great, Kanye, but what is the artist going to give back to the label in order to get these things? Because if I'm signed to a contract right now with a record label, let's say I'm signed to Sony, and I get a 20% royalty on every song, and Kanye comes out and says, you know what, Sony, you need to give Dre an 80% royalty on every song, and y'all get 20. Instead of y'all getting 80 and him getting 20, we flip it. He gets 80 and you all get 20. Why? Because that's just the way it's supposed to be. All right, Sony is not even taking that call. All right, Sony's not even answering the phone. If they know it's Kanye calling, they ain't picking up the phone. All right, they're going to have his number on block. Why is that? Because what are you giving up? All right, why would somebody, y'all got to understand something about business. People don't just give things up just because. All right, people don't give you things out of kindness of their hearts. People do not give you things because they want to be on the right side of history, whatever the hell that means. People don't give things up just because they think it's a righteous thing to do, or just because you went on Twitter, or you protested, or you did whatever you wanted to do to try to get their attention and tell them they were morally wrong for doing the thing that they did. And there are some examples where people think that's what people did. It's not actually what they did. We're going to get to that in a minute. So this second point is we can't ignore the trade-offs. Okay? What are the trade-offs that you are willing to give up? If you're going to be an owner, when you're running a business, what are the things you're willing to give up to get the things that you want? All right. Some people know this as sacrifice. All right. Some people call it investment. It's all the same thing. There's always a trade-off in life. A really intelligent writer by the name of Thomas Sowell, he talks about this. He says there's no perfection in life. There are only trade-offs. So there's no perfect outcome. There can only be trade-offs. Therefore, for example, I'll give you an example. When you hear political candidates, like in the next 2 months, we're going to hear, actually, 6 weeks, you're going to hear Joe Biden and Donald Trump. They're both going to be making a whole lot of promises and all the things that they're going to do if they win the election in November, right? But none of them is telling you about the trade-offs. This is the part that y'all gotta watch. And this is why citizens are always have some type of gripe with the government, because when the political candidate is campaigning, all they tell you about is what they're going to give you, right? We're going to lower taxes. We're going to get everybody health care. We're going to make sure you get to choose the schools you want to go to. We're going to make your community better. We're going to give everybody a job. We're going to get rid of all these problems over here. We're going to solve systemic racism. We're going to reform the police. We're going to, what's the other things people talking about? All the things people complain about. We're going to do all those things, right? That's what every political candidate says it. The presidents all the time, governors say it, mayors say it, but we'll just talk about presidents because everybody knows about these campaigns. The problem is, in order for them, the candidates, if Trump wins, all the things he promised, or if Biden wins, all the things he's going to promise, or candidate X in the next election, the next one after that, they're going to make all these promises and tell you the things that they're going to do. But when they're telling you these things they're going to do, what they're not telling you is what the trade-off is in order to get those things. So, for example, if a president comes out and says, you know what, we're going to give everybody very low-cost, affordable health care. Like, that's what Obama wanted to do, right? He wanted to give everybody low-cost, affordable health care. And he, technically, he delivered on it. The problem is, not everybody got that. The trade-off was some people had to pay a whole lot more in taxes in order to pay for that health care that a whole lot of other people didn't have to pay for. Or, any of you who ever had any type of, like, government healthcare access, you know that when you're looking at the network of the things that you get, all right, all those doctors and all those dentists ain't even good. All right, no wonder they on. No wonder you get them for free. All right, they're not worth it. Some of them ain't worth the dollars or the papers that their names are printed on. No wonder that you get it for free. That's the trade-off. Or another trade-off is, yeah, you can get the free healthcare, but after you fill out the paperwork, you can't actually use it until like 6 weeks later. So if your tooth is aching right now, so you filled out the paperwork so you can get your dentist with your health care or your benefits, you can't even go to the dentist for 6 weeks because you got to wait until everything kicks in, right? So that's a trade-off, but they don't tell you that when they're campaigning. All right, they don't tell you these parts, but the trade-offs always exist. So what I would suggest to any of you out there, next time you hear somebody telling you all the things you're going to get, all the things they're going to do for you, all the things they're going to bring to your life that's going to make things better for you, ask yourself this question: what is the trade-off in order to get it? All right, maybe they're telling you the truth. All right, they might be lying. I know sometimes politicians lie, so they might be lying, but also ask yourself, if they're telling the truth, what do I need to give up in order to get that? What do I got to give up for everybody in America to have health care for free? Well, that means everybody in America might have to wait 90 days to see a doctor. When you fill out the document on the free website for everybody in the world to get to a doctor, you might have to wait 90 days before you can get your operation. You might have to wait 3 weeks to get your knee fixed because you tore up your knee playing basketball. So there's always something you got to give up. In business, as an owner, if you already are in a position of not being an owner, let's say you're signed to a contract, you're signed to a publishing deal with a record label, you're signed to a publishing deal with a book company, and you want to get more control. You want to make more money, you want a higher royalty, you want ownership of your work, whatever it's going to be. What are you giving up in order to get it? All right, you ain't calling Universal Music Group and saying, hey, y'all got 90% of my publishing, I want 90% of it back. Just give me my 90% back. All right, that ain't happening. All right, you won't get past the secretary. You had a book deal with Random House. You can't call them and say, hey, I know y'all technically have the publishing rights to my book. I want the publishing rights back. Just give me the publishing rights. If your book is selling, they ain't giving you the publishing rights. You know why? Because owning the publishing is how they make their money. All right, that's the reason why they got that big building in Times Square, is because they own the publishing to all of those books. They're not just going to give that to you for nothing. So what is it that you can give back in order to get something? All right, every plan sounds great when all you're doing in your plan is receiving everything and giving nothing back. Now, any of you ever been in a situation like that in life where you received everything from the other party, you didn't give anything back, and everybody was happy at the end of the day? No, that does not happen. Yes, publishing absolutely happens. Music has publishing as well. So publishing is like Michael Jackson. When his song plays, his family makes money. Publishing in the book world is the same thing. When somebody buys your book, the publisher gets the actual, whatever payout goes to the publisher, then they take their cut, then they give it to whoever the owner is, if it's not the same person. But most of my books, like this book, is done through a publishing company, or the rest of these books are done through my publishing company, Work On Your Game Incorporated. So we own the publishing of more of these than on this book, specifically Work On Your Game. Point number 3. We're talking ownership here today for anybody who is a creative business owner or planning to get into any type of creative world where there's an asset created that will be generating money. All right, so if you're going to create a revenue generating asset, these are the things you need to understand. Point number 3, when it comes to ownership, and this is a good point to make right here on these platforms. I got Periscope here on my left, Facebook in the middle, Instagram on my right. If your business is built on a platform which you do not own, here's a news flash: you don't own shit. I'm pausing for a emphasis to let that sink in. I'm gonna say it again. If your business is built on a platform which you do not own anything. They own you. If your business is built on a very active Facebook group, very engaged Facebook group, and you are not one of the owners of Facebook, Facebook owns your business. True or not true? They own your business, because if they shut down your Facebook group, what happens to your business? Poof, gone. If your business is built on publishing YouTube videos, is all good. You might have a whole lot of subscribers, and you get a lot of views on your videos, maybe even do some brand deals. But what if something happens to that YouTube channel? YouTube decides to shut you down for whatever reason and don't give you a reason, and you can't appeal. Gone, over, finish. Instagram, Periscope, whatever, Twitter, whatever, TikTok, whatever platform you are on, if you don't own that platform and your whole business, all of your value, all of your relevance is built onto that platform, you are in a perilous position. What I would suggest you do, if you're one of those people, is you start building your own assets and get the people who follow you on those platforms to come follow you on the platform that you own, i.e. your website, your email list, something that you have control of, you have ownership over, and you can dictate the terms of engagement. You cannot dictate the terms of engagement on Periscope or Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or Twitter. I use these platforms. Let me be clear. I'm not saying there's something wrong with the platform itself. I use them. But what do I tell you at the end of each one of these live streams? Go claim your free copy of this book. When you claim your free copy of the book, you're going to give me your email address. Now I have your email address. Now I can talk to you direct, even if Facebook goes away, even if Instagram disappears, even if Donald Trump shuts down Periscope, I can still talk to you directly because I got your email address now. I can't get your email address from Instagram. They won't give it to me. Why? Because it's an asset. That's why Instagram is worth so much money. Why was Instagram willing to pay $3 billion for Snapchat a few years ago? And Snapchat didn't want to sell it. You know why Instagram wanted to pay $3 billion for Snapchat? Not because they didn't know how to create a stories function. All right, they got the engineers. They did that. They cloned Snapchat and they made Instagram stories. Right? They didn't need Snapchat's help for the story. The reason why they wanted to pay $3 billion or whatever it was for Snapchat is because Snapchat has the email addresses. They have the contact information of, who knows, 100 million, 500 million, a billion kids who use Snapchat. All right, that was the asset. The asset was the contact with the people. All right, Facebook is what Facebook is because they have the information, they have the demographics and the psychographics. They know all this data, all this private, quote unquote, private data about everybody who uses Facebook, YouTube, Google. All of them are worth money because of the amount of data that they have on you. It's not because of the platform itself. All right, Instagram. What is Instagram? Instagram is a platform where you take a picture, you do some editing, and you post it. All right, every app maker in the world. All right, I could take an app design class, and in 48 hours, I can make something that looks similar to Instagram. It is not Instagram's photo publishing functionality that makes them what they are. What makes Instagram what they are is that they have the asset, and their asset is you and me and everybody else who's using this quote-unquote free platform and we've given up all our information, and they know what we like, they know what we're interested in, they know who we follow, they know what we're talking about in our DMs, they know what kind of posts we post, they know what hashtags we use, they know what we're interested in, they know when we're lurking on somebody's page and don't even like anything, we're looking at everything. They know everything about you. That's why Facebook is worth billions. That's why Instagram is worth what it's worth. That's why WhatsApp, all these platforms, they're assets. Right? Here's what I want you to understand. If your business is built on one of these platforms, you are not a business owner. You are nothing but an asset to these companies. If your business is built on your Facebook page, you're just an asset to Mark Zuckerberg. You don't own anything. He owns you. He owns your business. And if you don't believe me, do something to piss him off. And when your page gets shut down, you'll find out who the real owner is. It ain't you. Newsflash. Everybody following what I'm saying here. So make sure that even if you use these platforms, that you are getting people to your platforms. Now, I'm not shitting on these platforms if they're wrong. All right, don't get mad at me, Mark Zuckerberg. What I'm telling you is these platforms provide a service to you. What do? Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, what do? They aggregate all the people. All right, some of you never heard of me before you found me on Instagram, or maybe you heard of me on YouTube. Maybe you saw me on Twitter. Maybe you saw me on somebody else's show. That was an asset that I did not own, but you saw me there. And my goal, I'm telling you, I'm transparent with the goal, is to make you one of my assets. So you can be an asset to multiple people at the same time. I'm an asset to a bunch of people. I'm on people's email lists. I'm on people's customer lists. I am in people's ecosystems. I'm signed up to people's membership sites. I am an asset to them, and then other people can be an asset to me. But understand, you don't want to build your business on a platform that you don't own, because they can shut you down and basically destroy your whole business anytime they feel like it. And I don't think that's what you want. There's like 1,000 birds flying past my window right now. If I wasn't doing this live, I'd take a picture. It's crazy. But anyway, back to what I was talking about. These platforms provide a service to you. All right, they aggregate the people. All right, they have the platform in place. Like Facebook has a cool app. Instagram app is very cool. It's very easy to use. It'd be very hard for you to maybe have to develop that and make it yourself. All right. All right, Psychology Magazine, Psychology Today. That's an asset. They own the magazine. I don't own the magazine, but me being in there helped me connect with certain people. So I'm willing to be an asset to them so that I can maybe acquire some assets myself. That is the way that they work. So point number 4, we're talking business here today. Anybody who wants to be an owner, if you're a creator, if you're a publisher of any kind, you want to have ownership of your assets, these are the things you need to understand. Point number 4, we got 5 points here. Accessories for ownership. If you're going to be an owner, there are several things that you need to do that when you are not an owner, you don't need to do. Management, knowing what's going on, keeping everything in order. When something goes wrong, fixing it. If you post let's say you sell your products on Amazon, for example. If you sell AirPod cases on Amazon, or you sell AirPod designer cases on Amazon, and something goes wrong with Amazon's system, do you have to fix it? No. Do you have to call the host? No. Do you have to get an engineer in there to make sure the website's working? No. Do you have to test out the buy buttons? No. Do you have to split test the design of the pages? No. You don't do any of that. Amazon does all of it. And that's why Amazon takes 50% of your money before you get a dollar, because they are providing management for you. What about accountability? Who's in charge of the people that's supposed to be fixing things? If something goes wrong with Amazon, somebody's going to be in charge of somebody who's in charge of somebody who's in charge of somebody who answers to Jeff Bezos. All right, so there's an accountability there, but there's ownership. He owns it. Somebody's accountable to someone who's supposed to fix that website, or fix the fact that this order didn't go through, or fix the fact that it says the package was delivered but you never got it and they got to refund you and you got to order it again. All right, there's accountability and all of that. If you're going to be the owner, you're responsible for all of that accountability. If something goes wrong, you got to fix it. For example, when you rent in a condo or an apartment and the toilet breaks, all you do is call maintenance. They send maintenance up there and maintenance fixes the toilet. It doesn't cost you $1. If you own the apartment or you own the condo and the toilet breaks, you can't call nobody. All right, you can call somebody. You call a plumber, but they're going to charge you an arm and a leg to fix that toilet, or you can fix it yourself, but you got to pay for it. Why? Because you are the owner, and that accountability falls on your shoulders. So these are the things you got to understand when you're an owner, that you're responsible for all of this stuff. Your lawyers, making sure your paperwork is right, making sure your documentation is right, making sure your whatever files need to be filed, get filed. All right, make sure whatever payments need to be paid, get paid. And if they don't, it is all on you, and they'll come for you if you don't. Any gaps in what you're doing, anything's missing, anything is not working, you're responsible for fixing it when you're an owner. So when Kanye was talking about all these things and having ownership of your work, and not being a slave to the record labels and things like that, all good, Kanye. But the reason why Kanye is talking about these things is because Kanye thinks this way. He thinks like he wants to be an owner. He wants to be in charge. That's why he has the Yeezy brand. That's why he has all the things that he's done outside of making music, because he has an owner's mentality. And we can see by the actions that he takes. He wants to create his own things and have control of them. But a lot of artists, a lot of creators, whether we're talking athletes, we're talking authors, musicians, artists who draw paintings and take photos, they don't want to do all this stuff. This is work. All right, managing a business is work, ladies and gentlemen. If you didn't know, now you know. If you want to own a business, there's a whole lot of work that needs to be done as far as the operation and the systems of your business. I'm not talking about going and giving a speech or posting a picture or making a funny video. I'm talking about the management that goes on the back end. Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, they provide all this management for you. Amazon, they provide this management for you. So the fact that you don't even notice it. Therefore, they're willing to take. YouTube takes 45% of your money. Amazon is taking half of your money. Why are they doing this? A book publisher is going to take 90% of your money. Why are they doing this? Because they're providing all the services. They're doing all the work. All you did was write the book. All you did was record the song. All you did was create a product. All the other stuff that allows the transaction to occur and occur smoothly, they're doing. That's why they feel justified in taking your money. And ain't a damn thing you can do about it except get some control over what you're doing. So now let's go to point number 5. That's the last point. Ownership creates leverage. What we're talking about is ownership here today for those who came in. Ownership creates leverage. The definition of leverage is the exertion of force by means of a lever or an object. The exertion of force by means of an object. That's what leverage means. So you were able to create force by using something else. Kanye West has leverage over a record label because Kanye West has sold a lot of records, so he has proven that he's worth money to them, and he owns his own business outside of making music. Therefore, if his music career stalls, he can still make money in other ways. The record label knows this. Therefore, they're like, all right, we actually have to listen to this guy, because if he likes us, he'll make more music, which will make us money. But if he doesn't like us, he doesn't need to make music. Therefore, he won't. And we're not going to make any more money off this guy. And, we got mortgages to pay. I got to finish my garage. I got to get my second kitchen installed in my house. We need this dude to sell some records. Let's get a guy what he wants, or at least let's have a conversation with him. When you have leverage, you can do that. Kanye West can say the things that he said because he has leverage. But most artists that he was claiming to be speaking up for, they can't do what Kanye does because they don't have his power. They don't have his leverage. They have not achieved what Kanye West has achieved Therefore, they can't go to a label and say, well, I want this, this, and this. The label's going to say, who the hell are you? Nobody. Get the hell out of here. We ain't giving you nothing. And you better make another record, and you better do it quick, because they have no leverage. All right. If you're going to be an owner, you either have to create leverage or you must acquire leverage. All right. It's the most important thing that you need to exploit power. All right. If you want to create power, you must exploit your leverage to create that power. Your leverage could be, for example, LeBron James, when he was playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers, the second time for the Cavs, every year he would sign a 1-year contract. The 1-year contract is basically, it was a 1 year with a 1-year player option, but he opted out every year. What does it do? It gives LeBron leverage. What's the leverage that he has? The leverage is, hey, Cleveland Cavaliers, if y'all don't do what I want y'all to do, I'm going to leave, and y'all will be gone. Y'all will be without this asset called LeBron James that is worth a whole lot of money to your bottom line. I will take this asset of my game with me, go away, y'all will be left with nothing unless you do what I want you to do. He did it 4 years in a row. He just kept creating more leverage for himself over and over again. No player has done it since. He's the only player who's been confident enough to create that leverage in that way. I would be interested to see more players do it, but a lot of players don't want to because they want that long-term security. But Kanye talked about this today. He said yesterday, he said we want the 1-year deals. Just a 1-year contract with each artist. But a lot of artists don't want to do that because if they flop in that 1 year, they may not get another contract. So they want to just take the 5-year deal or the 10-album deal, get a good amount of money up front, and at least have secured their future. But then if they're successful, later on they're complaining like, man, I ain't making the money that I want to make, things like that. So you got to have some kind of object that you can use as leverage to exploit to create power. Skills, knowledge, results, time, money, attention, energy, focus. These are 5 forms of investment. If you do not have these things, you must create them, because if you don't have them, you don't have any leverage. You can't do anything. You cannot call your own shot. You cannot tell people what to do. You cannot pass go. You cannot collect $200. What leverage do you have? Anyone who's listening to me right now, ask yourself, what leverage do I have to do what I want to do in business? What leverage do I have to get people to listen to me? What leverage do I have to negotiate the kind of deals that I want? All right, what do I have to offer that other people need that would lead to those other people actually listening to me and doing what I want them to do? If you cannot answer the question, doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It means you do not have any leverage, which means you need to work on your game until you have enough leverage to where you can actually dictate the terms of engagement. If you don't have the power to dictate terms right now, you need to get your weight up. That's some slang that we use. That also means work on your game, get better, so you can start dictating things instead of having things dictated to you. All that being said, I'm going to tell you how you can get one of these publications for free that's sitting right here in front of me. Then I'm going to recap my points, and then if there's a question, I will take those in the comment section. So if you got a question, go ahead and post it. Make sure it's relevant to the topic and get to the point, and then we're going to do what we got to do. So this book right here is called The Mirror of Motivation. Periscope, y'all see this? Mirror of Motivation. Facebook, you see this? Mirror of Motivation. Instagram, y'all see it? Mirror of Motivation. The book is free. All you do is cover the shipping. You get it at mirrormotivation.com. Let me tell you why you want to get it. Everybody who's listening to me, you have goals. You got things you want to achieve in your life. And if you listen to a guy with a book called Work on Your Game, you are willing to do the work. You might not be good at the work, but you're willing to do the work. All right? If you're not willing to do the work, you wouldn't be listening to this point. However, even though you know what you want and you know you're willing to do the work, you still aren't getting the results that you want. Why? Because you have not asked yourself a third key question. The question is, who do I need to be? This book gives you the framework for answering that question. Who do I need to be? What kind of energy do I need to have? How do I need to approach life? How do I need to look at myself how do I need to see myself when I look in the mirror? How do I want people to feel about me when I walk past? These are the questions that are answered when you answer the question, who do I need to be? This book, The Mirror of Motivation, provides you the frameworks for how you will answer that question. Okay? Everybody got that. The book is already paid for. You cover the shipping. Get it at mirrorofmotivation.com. Let's say it all again at the same time. Mirrorofmotivation.com. The book's paid for. You cover the shipping. It is a self-guide to self-discipline. This is the first of the 4 work on your game principles: being disciplined, confidence, mental toughness, personal initiative. So you're going to start with this book. On that page, there's a little checkbox where you can get the bulletproof bundle. That's all 4 of my books about the 4 pillars. This is about discipline. The Super You is about confidence. The Mental Handbook is about mental toughness. And 100 Mental Game Best Practices is about personal initiative. You can get all 4 when you go to mirrorofmotivation.com. Just check the little box on that page. On the very next page, after you do that, your book is on the way. After you do that, On the next page, we're going to make you an offer for this right here. This book, Work on Your Game, and the Mental Workbook in the 2-book bundle called the Mental Game Advanced Bundle. That's on the very next page. You only need a web URL for that. Go to mirrormotivation.com. After you claim your copy of this, on the next page, we're going to give you a chance to get this and the mental workbook. So you can walk out, and there's 2 more books on the page after that. You got a chance to walk out of here with, what's that, 4, 5, 6, 8 books. All right, 8 out of 27. So you're damn near a third of the way through the collection just by going to mirrorofmotivation.com. So everything is automated. As soon as you finish with one page, we'll send you to the next one. The next one will show you exactly what you need. Everything I just said. All you got to remember is mirrormotivation.com. We're professionals here. We know exactly what we're doing. So anyway, let's recap these points really quickly, and then I'm going to address questions. The topic is ownership. If you got the question, go ahead and post it. Number 1, Kanye has the resources to say F you to the labels. He has F you money. Fuck you money. He has clout. He has already done things. If you haven't done things, you have no clout. You can't necessarily talk to people like that. Number 2, let's not ignore the trade-offs, which many people do. They ignore the trade-offs when they're preaching all this stuff to the powers that be. They talk about what everybody needs to give them, but they're not willing to give anything up. Now, you can't get something for nothing in life, ladies and gentlemen. First rule of economics. Point number 3, ownership. If your business is built on a platform which you do not own, you don't own anything, they own you. Ask yourself, do you own it or do they own you? Are you writing checks or are you receiving checks? All right, if you're writing checks, you're an owner. If you're receiving checks, you are being owned. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but that's the game. Point number 4, accessories for ownership. You need to have management in place, accountability. You need lawyers. You got to fill all the gaps, and anything that goes wrong, you got to fix it. Why? Because you own it. Point number 5, ownership provides leverage. Definition of leverage, the exertion of force by means of a lever or an object. To get leverage, you need something of value that other people are willing to pay for, that other people want. Knowledge, skills, results, time, money, attention, energy, focus. These are all forms of leverage. If you don't have leverage, you are not going to be able to get leverage. So you need to figure out what leverage can you create. It can be knowledge, it can be a skill, it can be access, but you need to figure that out. Robert G. Allen, in his book, Creating Wealth, he lays out 8 forms of wealth. If you don't know about those and you haven't read that book, it's called, I forgot the name of the book, Creating Wealth by Robert G. Allen. Go look it up and go read it. It's about real estate, and I don't work in the real estate industry, but that book was still very valuable because of the principles and the frameworks that he taught. So now let me address questions. If there are any, let me see if we got any on Periscope. I don't think we got any on Periscope. Let's see what we got going on IG. 3Steven502, go to balloverseas.com. You probably already know that. If you ain't got that book, how am I going to take you seriously? balloverseas.com. Bell Floor was good. Scary White Man 000. Bell says, is mom know it won't happen that way? I don't know what you're talking about. Bell said, not giving unless you give me. Austin said, you've been speaking facts and changing lives for over a decade. Keep crushing it. That's a fact. All right. So you just spoke a fact right there, Austin Pierce. Appreciate you. Bell said, time. So they don't trade. Yes, that's a fact. Bell said, taxes and bills. Yeah, you're right. Publishing, I didn't. Yeah, publishing is pretty much just like the music industry. It's just people don't read books the way they listen to music, so it don't get talked about as much. Maverick, for you own real estate. Yeah, Bell said, I'm cheap. No one pays me. You got the emails. That's what's up. Saleh says, seems that influencers rent cars and mansions to promote their mindset programs. I wonder if anyone succeeded from their program. Well, not everybody. There are some influencers who they might actually live in a nice house or they might actually drive a nice car. But there are people who do that. Saleh, I understand what you're saying. There are people who are partaking in that, but there are also people who they might be flashy and showing off, but they are actually good at the same time. But I don't know. But I feel you. Bell said, I found you on Psychology. Yeah, Psychology Today. Shout out to Psychology Today. They made a good choice. So everyone is real hiring gurus on these platforms. Sports Lover says, why do you focus on IG stories instead of Snapchat? Because I just like IG stories better. I like Instagram better than Snapchat. Snapchat should have stole the Instagram, then you wouldn't have this problem. Bell said, waiting for my book. It's on the way. You should have got it. You should have got the confirmation already. If you didn't get it, then it's probably on its way. We just shipped out. I think we shipped out like 10 of them today. Bell said, I got some downloads. Downloads of what? Bell said, what drives you to motivate people? Well, honestly, I don't even see it as, I mean, people take it as motivation, but I don't see it as motivation. I see it as informing people, giving them the game. That's what I call myself doing. Well, that's what, work on your game. I'm trying to give people the game. All right, the game goes beyond sports. So the game can be playing on the court. The game can be business. It can be relationships. All that's part of the game. So that's what I see myself doing, is giving people the game. And if you are motivated by me giving you the game, that means I'm probably giving you some really good game. So that's how I see it. I don't look at it as motivating, but I get that people are motivated by it. I ain't mad that you're motivated by it, but understand, be motivated, and now go take that motivation and work on your game, get some game, and then learn to leverage that game into something tangible. And then once you learn how to do that, now start showing somebody else how to do it. Each one, teach one. Sports Lover said, when are my interviews over? Whenever I decide to stop doing it. mirrorofmotivation.com. The book is already paid for. You cover the shipping. And once you do that, on the very next page, you'll be able to get work on your game and the mental workbook on the next page. Question is proving people wrong a good way of getting motivated? I don't know. You tell me. Good is relative. So you would have to decide whether it's good or not for you. But you would only know by, you got to go out there and see. You got to go out there and live. And ain't really no black and white answer for that. If somebody tries to give you one, they're just telling you what they think you want to hear. He said, because that's what gives me the drive. Well, if that's what, then you already answered your own question. If it's giving you drive, I would assume you mean that as a good thing. Then I guess it's working. So I'll tell y'all one more time before we wrap this up. mirrormotivation.com. I do these lives. mirrormotivation.com. The book's paid for. You cover the shipping. You can get the bulletproof bundle by just checking the box on this page. On the next page, we're going to make you an offer to get work on your game and the mental workbook. And on the page after that, we're going to offer you to get the bulletproof mindset and 30 days of discipline take-home manuals. Yes, we made those in the books. You can get the take-home manuals. So, Adrian said, you're still going to do interviews in October? Nice. Well, I didn't necessarily say that, but you can try your luck. David says, what's your favorite part about being an owner? That I get to call the shots. But not everybody wants that. Not everybody wants the power to call the shots, because if you call a shot and it misses, now you got to own that too. So you got to own everything. Bell said, any public speaking coming up? Well, public speaking is kind of dead right now, Bell, because of COVID. So we're looking at 2021. I'll be out in January 2021, but I don't know if anything's even happening between now and then. But January, people are starting to, plan again. But for now, this is it. This is public speaking. I'm public speaking right now. But yeah, so my public speaking is every day, live on Instagram, Facebook, and Periscope. But ain't no conferences and stuff like that. A lot of them are not out. You know what I mean? At least not that I've seen. Everybody's pushing to 2021, or they went virtual for this year. A lot of conferences did virtual conferences this year, but that ain't the same. Virtual conferences are boring to me. Unless I really know the person, I don't want to do a virtual conference. So everybody, again, mirrormotivation.com. Book is paid for. You cover the shipping. I do these lives every single day. Just turn your notifications on, and that's that. Everybody have a great day. Work on your game. Dre all day. We out.